book about purpose, about impacting lives. And really, when I talked about this with the leadership team, and when I shared a quote externally, it was about a lot of pragmatic lessons that Mike can leave all of you and me with. And so that's what I'm really excited about having Mike here today. You can see a number of news outlets have highlighted the success of the book and the impact that it's having on others. So really terrific and obvious, tremendous praise across the board. So Mike, thank you so much for being here today. Have at it, buddy. Thank you. Appreciate you.
Hey, you guys. So first, I want to thank JB and Kathy and the executive team for inviting me to be here with you all today. I've been looking forward to this. This is really exciting. I want to thank Sarah and Amanda and Len and everyone who just makes these broadcasts a success. It's hard and it's stressful, and they pull it off. And I just want to thank you guys for the good work. I really want to thank everybody in this room. As a director at the company, I get to see the results of your hard work, the impact that it's having on the industry, on our customers, and the value that you are building for our shareholders. I'm also a customer of almost all of the consumer products at Ally, and I just want to convey to you that I can feel the love that the people in this room and the people on this broadcast put into our products and our services. I feel a personal connection to Ally in the way that a million of our customers do. And I just want to thank you guys for the amazing work that you do. So one of the things JB and I talk a lot about is how as leaders we feel a responsibility not just to help our teams do a good job at work, but for the people who work for us to become better versions of themselves through that work. And what I want to spend a little bit of time on with you all today are some of the themes, some of the tips and hacks that I've discovered and developed through my own career for becoming better day after day in what I do and driving a career toward a really meaningful and motivating long-term purpose. That's the plan. First, I just want to start with a quick personal story, if that's okay for you guys. So I had this nice career, as JB told you. Someone married me. I have these wonderful kids. I run a company that helps people with these big life events. We have an app called The Knot. So is anybody here engaged? If you don't, you download the app. Good, thank you. We have an app called The Bump that helps anybody who's pregnant, trying to get pregnant, or parenting. We do a lot of this like nice stuff that touches people's lives. I feel so lucky to do it. I sit on the board of this amazing company. It's one of the great privileges of my career, and I'm able to do work in the community and try to give some back. I'm at a place today where I feel so blessed with the career that I have. But it was not always like this. Earlier in my career, I was a grouch. I was dissatisfied with where I was professionally. I felt disconnected from my work. I was obviously smarter than my boss. And the solution, I knew the solution. The solution to this problem, obviously, and you all know the solution too. I just needed to be promoted again. Then I was going to be happy. Then everything was going to be fine. I had a friend who was a school teacher at one of the public schools in the Bronx and asked me to come to Career Day. I went to Career Day at this school and got to talk to the kids about what I did. I told them I work on strategy. I said I work on mergers and acquisitions. I get to meet with very senior people in my company. I was wearing a suit. I thought they should be very impressed. And then the children go up to you after and they ask a set of prepared questions. And a little girl came up to me with her 3 questions. And she said, her first question was, do you bring your lunch to work? And I said, no, it's a terrific idea. I should bring my lunch to work. I spend like $18 a day on lunch. So this is good. This has been a good exchange so far. Second question, she said, where is your office? I said, oh, my office is in Rockefeller Plaza. This is a really cool place. You should come by sometime. And I was like, no, you can't. You're a child. You can't come by my office. Bring your parents. And then her third question was, is your job important? And I said, well, I mean, it depends on what you mean by important. Obviously, not anybody, just anybody could do this job. And, you know, I mean, I don't know, I guess just about anybody with an MBA could make bubble charts for executives at my company. But you know, I think I do it a little bit better, to be honest with you. And, you know, I mean, we're not curing cancer, but, you know, people like watching TV shows. And I don't know, do you know about capital allocation? I mean, capital allocation is a key driver of value in a company. And this little girl looked back down at her list and she said, Mister, I'm supposed to write yes or no. And I said, no. I did not have a job that was important. Now, this was many jobs ago. I want to be super clear. This isn't the job I have now or even the job I had before. This is earlier in my career. And it's not that the job wasn't important. It was important to other people. It wasn't important to me. It wasn't connected to what motivates me, what I feel is important, what I want to do with this limited time that we have on this earth and the impact that I want to have through my career. So I was given an existential crisis by a 6-year-old. That's great. And I went on this journey, and it took me, I don't know, a decade and a half to perfect it, but it only took like 24 hours before I started to execute it. And I went on this journey of trying to identify, what is my purpose? What is the plan to get to the career that I want to have? And then, how do I develop the productivity, the habits that it's going to take to execute an ambitious career? And how do I interact with people professionally in a way that allows me to have broader impact through my work? And then how do I, ultimately, how do I do it in a way that I can enjoy what is a hard and stressful, next 50 years? And I'm a student of these topics, and I've written a lot about these topics, and now I've condensed it into a book. And so if it's all right with you all, in the next 24 minutes, we're going to bang through all of this. Does that sound like a good plan? All right, so here we go. Number one, purpose. I did this exercise, and this is really fun. I recommend get up early before your kids. Give yourself 60 minutes with a blank piece of paper and a pen. Put your name in the middle of it, and then start drawing lines from your name and identifying all the areas of your life in which you have impact. Might be through your work, what impact you have through your work. It might be through your church, through your community, through your family, but really just start to sketch out, how much impact am I having through my work? Now, when I did this exercise, I drew bubble charts, and I had a cat. And I don't know if you know this, but cats can survive just fine in the wild. So really, I was doing nothing. It was a very disappointing chart. But you get to do the chart again in this exercise. You do the second round of this chart. I said, okay, what if I get promoted 5 times? I become very senior in my function in my company. Then what kind of impact do I have? And I thought about it, and it turned out that in the job that I was in at the time, it was unsatisfying. But I started to imagine other jobs where it would be exciting. And so I went on a why not journey. I was like, okay, I'm still young. I could do just about anything. Why not start a hedge fund? Well, that one wasn't for me. Why not think about getting involved in politics? I don't know, maybe. I thought, at one point, this is a true story, I called NASA and I asked, what do you have to do to be an astronaut? And they said, you have to be a pilot. I was like, God, there's nothing out there for me. So, but thinking expansively, rather than just, well, here's where I am today, what is the next step forward? Just taking a step back and ensuring that the place I am today fits with, hey, if I could try to do anything, would it be this? I feel very fortunate today that if I could be doing anything, right now it would be this. But it's a really helpful, healthy question to ask as you're planning the long arc of your career. And the other exercise that I did was just, this is a simple exercise, but it's really illuminating, just making the list of what are the things I love doing, what are the things I don't love doing, and what are the things that I have to be happy. Because a lot of people miss this. In fact, they almost engineer it completely backwards. They start from a place of, well, I just want to make more money. I mean, which is nice. You should always do your best. But there's an amount of money that I need to have the life that I want to give my family. And then there's more. And what a lot of folks end up doing is trading off all these things that they love, or taking on all these things that they hate, to get more than they would have needed on that topic. So I started trying to design my career in the way you would design a consumer electronic product or an app or a website, setting those design constraints. I need to make this much money. I'd love to live in these places. I'm a New Yorker. I love living in New York. I got a call for a job one time, and they wanted to know if I would move to France. Guys, I am not a live in France person. And once you've come to terms with that kind of stuff, you can just start to say, no, no, I am not moving to France. I'm staying right here on the East Coast. But going through this exercise, you're never trapped in the career path or the place that you are in this moment. There are decades to go. And you can say to yourself, in which office would I want to be? And what kind of a function do I want to be performing? And thinking through that in particular around your work, a lot of people, I get a lot of questions. I do office hours. I talk to a lot of folks who are early in their careers, and they're like, look, man, I just got here. I don't even know what function I want to work in. And going through the exercise of saying, what kinds of things do I do at work that I really enjoy? There are people who really enjoy influencing others. The sales team, we love lunch with the customer. Customer says yes, like I get endorphins from that. I love it. I know some people who would rather die than have to ask someone to do something for them. Then there are these people who love to organize the world. They want everything organized. You see their desk, and like if the pen is tipped this way a little bit, they're still here at the office, right? Like the guy next to you's got like an uneaten hoagie from last week, and this desk is like. But which of those kinds of people are you? It starts to inform what kind of a role is going to be the role that for years and years to come, it's going to make your toes wiggle. It's the thing that you enjoy. Now, lots of folks in this room, lots of folks on the broadcast are already in the job, I'm sure, that is the job that they love. And you're probably saying in the back of your mind, I think I know where I want to go. I think I'm in the job and the function that I really enjoy. I just want to get ahead. I want to have more impact. I want to have a bigger team. I want to have more customers. How do I do that? So that gets to the next step, which is once you've figured out, this is the direction I want my career to go. This is the purpose I'm tied back to. This is the impact I want to have. How do I get there? So here's what I've done. You set a North Star. You ask yourself, who's someone out there who inspires me, who has a job like the one I'd like to have? And you set an ambitious one. It might be a really successful entrepreneur, a public servant, successful business leader. I mean, it could be just someone who really inspires you. Like just anyone. Like pick someone good looking if you can. But you pick your North Star and you say, this is where I'd like my career to be something like this someday. And be ambitious, because if you only get halfway there, you've still gone a long way. And what you can do, and this is an amazing exercise, you can look these people up. If you think that Sheryl Sandberg had a really interesting career, do you know how she got there? There's a whole Wikipedia page about it. Just read it. And you'll see this list start to develop of the skills, the experiences, the successes, the activities that these folks took on in their careers that started to be a pattern, that started to be a plan and a ladder in their career. When I did this exercise earlier in my career, one of the things that I started to hone in on the idea that I'd love to be a senior business leader in technology, and I started to look at senior business leaders in the technology space. And one thing they all did was manage a whole bunch of people. And I didn't manage anybody. I said, okay, so I literally wrote it down, manage some people. And then it turns out if you just go back at work and tell your boss that you did your career plan and you need a team to manage, you don't get one. I didn't work. And then you do like your annual assessment of yourself, and it's like, what are the things you need to work on? Like, I really need to work on managing other people. So you just have to give me a team of people to manage. It doesn't work. So I said, all right, what can I do? I can wait a long time until someone gives me the opportunity. I can try to create one. So first, I read like a stack of books on leadership, like this high. I'm super fun. Secondly, I said, okay, who am I qualified to manage? Like, who could I possibly manage? I was like, oh, an intern. I could manage an intern. So I asked my boss, instead of saying, hey, can I have that team of people to manage? I said, can I launch an internship program for us? Stern School of Business at NYU is looking to place interns. I can set it all up. You'll never have to worry about it. I'll do it. So we started an intern program. I did it. Got some interns. And I went from managing no one to managing an MBA named Felix. And poor Felix, he shows up at my office, and there's this stack of leadership books. And I'm like, sit down, Felix. It's time for me to manage you. But you got to start somewhere. And how did that happen? I didn't wait for the opportunity. There was some side hustle. I came up with a thing that was good for the company. It was really good for Felix. But more so on this topic, it was consistent with some of the things I wanted to develop professionally. I didn't know a whole lot about technology. I made friends who were engineers. I shadowed them. I watched how people coded. I put my fingers on the keyboard. There are all of these ways that not through the day-to-day of your work, you can develop the skills and experiences that are consistent with the career ladders you've seen of people who really inspire you. But then, who has time to do all this stuff? Right? So you're all thinking, that sounds great. I should learn to code. I can start an intern program. I couldn't even get to work on time this morning. You want me to do all that stuff? Peace. There's no time. There's no time. There is no time for any of this. I don't even know why I came here today. There's no time. Can't do it. But maybe if you step back from all the things that keep us busy and you just ask yourself, really, how many hours do I have in a day? You should sleep 8 hours. I'm going to come back to that. You really should sleep 8 hours. You should exercise every day. You should bathe. Professionally, it's been one of the keys to success for me. You've got, depending on your role and depending on where your foot is on the gas pedal at this moment, you're spending somewhere between 40 and 60 hours a week working. You spread that out over 5 or 7 days. 19 of your 24 hours are spoken for. They're gone. You use them brushing your teeth and sleeping, going to work. I haven't even gotten to kids and everything. There's 5 hours left. 5 hours left in a day. And it's not that much, right? Well, not that much. If you ever read Malcolm Gladwell, he's a fraud, but if you read Malcolm Gladwell, he'll tell you that it takes 10,000 hours to become really expert in something, like an expert golfer, a concert pianist. Well, in 5 hours a day, what does that take? It's like 6 or 7 years. You could be in Carnegie Hall. So it's a lot. Remember, somebody wanted me to go work in France. The average French white-collar worker works roughly 5 hours a day. So you could have 2 jobs. You could have your job, and you could have a night job telecommuting to France and do somebody else's job in that spare 5 hours. So if you look at it that way, it's actually a lot. It's a lot of time. And now you're all thinking, you may have 5 hours, a-hole. I don't have 5 hours. I got a spouse who doesn't know how to do a dish. I've got 2 kids. Their drop-offs are 30 miles apart. Like, That's fair. And depending on where you are in your life's journey, if you've got little kids, a lot of this 5 hours is eaten up. If you've got teenagers, you wish they'd spend 30 minutes with you. They won't. You have some time back. But this is where your sort of personal design principles start to come into play. What are the things that are important to you that are going to eat up that last 5 hours? But I want to bring your attention just to one thing. Before we all tell ourselves, I don't have 5 hours, maybe I'll get to this career investment stuff later. There's this really cool function on your iPhone where you can go into settings and you can go to battery life to see how much of your battery your apps are using up. But then there's a little clock on the side. If you click it, it tells you how many minutes or hours you've spent with each of your apps today and this week. If you are an average American, you spend 2 hours a day on social media, 1 hour a day texting, surfing the web, and watching online video. That's 3 of your 5 hours right there. If you are the average American who is not a higher-end consumer of apps and web surfing, you are spending, on average, 4 hours and 56 minutes a day watching television. That's your 5 hours. Now, if you don't watch any TV and you have a flip phone, this doesn't apply to you. If you're the rest of us, this is the truth. This is the truth. And so maybe we have more time than we think, but it's hard to get it back. We don't have enough time to really dig into this one, but if any of you get your hands on my book, there's a couple of sections on how to take control of your calendar. Clear it so that the things in your calendar are aligned to your priorities and your work priorities, your personal priorities, your career roadmap. Commit to those things, and then start to eradicate the distractions that get in the way. So if you saw my calendar, it has on a normal day, wake up, work out, breakfast with the kids, commute, work, commute home, homework with the kids, work for 2 more hours, read for 30 minutes, go to sleep. My poor assistant. She walked in and saw this calendar the first day. She's like, I work for a psychopath. But if you think about it, how many times have you told yourself, I need to read more, I'm going to read more, and you just don't get to it. But you go to your one-on-one with your manager every time. It's in the calendar. It's in the calendar. I keep not going to the gym, but always showing up for the dentist. It's in the calendar. So this is one of the hacks that I found in my life, is actually honoring that calendar and filling it out with all the things that you really are going to do. And then when the little thing goes off, it says you need to be in your next meeting. And that next meeting is reading Good to Great by Jim Collins for 30 minutes in bed before I go to sleep. Then that's what I'm going to do. But still, get home from work. You've committed now, right? You're like, all right, the guy Mike is super motivating. I'm going to do it. I'm going to run my career manifesto. I'm going to get a Felix. I'm going to learn to code. I'm going to do all this stuff. But work today was it was a lot. I had a lot of meetings. Got a lot going on. I come home. The kids tore the house apart. I'm going to fix that up. Then I'm before I go do all the things I'm aspiring to, I'm just going to do one quick thing. I'm just going to catch like one episode of The Office on Netflix. One. The UK version, it's more cultural. And then you sit down, you put on the one episode of The Office, and then it gets to the end of the episode, and before you can get up, it just goes to the next one. And then after about 4 hours, there's this thing that pops up on the screen from Netflix, and it says, "Are you still watching?" Guys, every time you see that, your life is going in the wrong direction. Like even Netflix is worried about you. Their job is to get you to watch TV, and Netflix is like, "Bro, you've been watching a lot of TV." So what do you do? What do you do about that? Because it's true, like after a long day of work, like that's it, I'm out of willpower. I can't deal with anything. I'm just give me something easy. I need something easy. And the reason is, so the way that your brain is structured is there's sort of two parts. There's the part of your brain that knows that we're not eating carbs right now. That's like system 2. That's the deep thinking part of your brain. And then there's the more lizard part of your brain, the impulsive part of your brain, system 1, that is like, there are cookies in this conference room. And system 1 always beats system 2 if you let it. And there's a lot of great books to read on this. The best one is Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman, or The Power of Habit by Paul Duhigg, or Willpower by Roy Baumeister. If any of this sort of how your brain works stuff is interesting to you, I've got a list I'm easy to find online. I'll send it to you. But you can trick these systems. You can set rules and structures in your life that really help. And there's a whole bunch of stuff that I've uncovered in my life, but I'm going to share a couple quick ones with you. First one is your brain's really powerful. So imagine you're in like a 4-hour committee meeting offsite thing, and there are just brownies. Like they put the brownies on the table right as soon as it starts, right? And what do you say to yourself when you sit down? I'm not eating those brownies. We're not eating carbs. And then like an hour and 15 minutes into the meeting, there's just like brownie everywhere. Well, what happened? Well, there's a lot of debate in scientific circles about this, but essentially your willpower starts to burn down. You start to run out of willpower. So how do you build it back up? Well, one way is mental tricks. So I do a thing. This is disgusting, but we're friends now, so I'm just going to tell you. I visualize someone sneezing on the brownies. I see it. I like burn it into the system 1 in my brain. My system 1 brain, the other thing it knows, other than we want to eat brownies, is we don't want to sneeze. So now, like I've got a leg up in this brownie face-off in life. But a better one is not even to have them. So this thing I always suggest is find a way in your life to add a step to things you don't want to do and remove a step from things that you do. So as JB said, I have 2 small children. They haven't read the book yet. So they only eat dinosaur chicken nuggets. They eat chicken nuggets for, 14 meals a week. And when I get home from work, I'm hungry. You're hungry when you get home from work. What's around? It's like chicken nuggets everywhere. So either I'm going to eat all the chicken nuggets or I need a system. Here's my system. I put the chicken nuggets in a 1-gallon Ziploc bag. I turn it upside down, put it in another 1-gallon Ziploc bag. I do it again. Now, when I come home, yes, there are chicken nuggets, but there's like, you got to open all those bags. So forget it. I'll just eat a carrot. With the TV, if you have like a traditional cable box, have you ever unplugged your cable box and plugged it back in? It still works like 15 minutes later. By the way, as an aside, they charge you $10 a month for the privilege of having this box in your house. It takes 15 minutes to boot. But use that to your advantage. If you really don't want to watch TV, unplug your cable box. Then when you come home, you're like, all right, I had a long day. I'm going to watch some TV. And you're like, oh, I unplugged it because that guy at the all hands said to unplug it. And then you're like, forget it. I'll just read a book. That's adding a step to something that you don't want to do. Somebody has candy like out on their desk, you eat the candy. If you put the candy in the drawer and you have to remember it's there and open the drawer, you don't eat the candy. Add a step to things in your life that are things that you want to avoid, you don't want to do. The other is to remove a step. I had a New Year's resolution one year to eat 365 apples. Again, it's like part of the theme here is to feel bad for my wife. But I was just like, I read a study that said people eat an apple, like it really is true, if you eat an apple a day, you're healthier. I was like, that's easy, I'll eat an apple a day. But how do you do that? Well, I bought 365 apples. I didn't buy them all in one shot. I bought 7 a week. Every Monday morning, I had 7 apples delivered, and I would line them up at my desk. And then, every time I was hungry, I'd just eat one of these apples. And people would come by, especially the sales guys, would all be like, Mike, you hitting your number? So now, if I said to any of you, I'm like, look, it's really healthy to eat apples, you should eat apples today. You're like, great. And what are you going to do? Like, all right, I'm going to go to Kroger's. I'm going to go buy an apple. It's not going to happen. It's just sitting there on your desk. Every time you're hungry, eat one. I removed a step. Another example, I did this 10-year process of self-loathing where every night I would tell myself I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow. I would set my alarm clock. The next morning, the alarm would go off. I would hit snooze 5 times. I would hate myself, shower, and go to work. It's like exercise, but your pants get tighter. So I was like, all right, I'm going to apply this theory to getting out there and exercising. What am I going to do? I got dressed in my gym clothes at night. Took my alarm clock, I moved it to the front door. I put my sneakers, my headphones, stick of gum, my phone by the front door. The alarm goes off, jump out of bed, the alarm's not here, I can't snooze, I have to go all the way to the front door. I get to the front door, it's my phone and it's hiding in the sneakers. So I pick up the sneakers, I take the phone out, I hit snooze to go back to sleep, and I'm like, now, I'm almost there. I'm literally 1 step from the gym. It would feel so bad to get back in bed now. You remove a step from the thing that you want to do, and you're much, much more likely to do it. So, how's this relevant to where we started? You think of a career that you would really enjoy. You create a plan based on the success of others in that career. You think about how to allocate the hours in your day or your week to investing in your personal growth, your development, your career. And then you set these little hacks throughout the day in your life to give you that edge up on that part of your brain that wants you to give in to temptation and do the thing that feels good now, but doesn't help you longer term. That's the first 4 parts. We have 4 minutes left. I'm going to fly through the rest. The first one is people. If you do a great job of everything we've described so far, but nobody knows you, the career opportunities don't come your way. Everything that you do at work, from the groups that you participate in, to the friendships that you make, but also in the industry, the people with whom you connect in the industry, the ways that you get out there and go to conferences, get to know other people. When you find affinity groups online, people who are interested in the same things you're interested in professionally, and you connect with each other. When you stay in touch with folks from your last job, this starts to build out a network of people who know about you. But it doesn't really matter until you make a big investment into those relationships. And I'll give you an example on this one. Some time ago, I got an email, and 2 adjacent emails in my inbox. The first one was from somebody who had clearly networked with me very well. Dear Mike, we both went to the same college, go Quakers. We know these 30 people in common on LinkedIn. Maybe you didn't see my last email, but I would really like an introduction to your CTO so we can talk to you about our cybersecurity practices and services. All this guy's asking me to do is forward an email. And he's found, if you had a checklist of, are you connected to this person? He's found every connection. But I don't know this guy. And I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? The next email was from someone who had done me some real kindnesses in my career. Just a good person who I'd always felt really lucky to know. He said, Mike, my daughter's going to be going into kindergarten next year. Can you help us get into this kindergarten where your kids go? Now, if you don't live in New York, you may not realize this is like asking someone for a kidney. Dear Mike, maybe you remember me. We worked together at General Electric. I need a kidney. The first guy was asking for 5 seconds of my time, and I really did not want to help. The second person was asking for a kidney, and I did it. And the reason is because he had done things for me, because he'd shown me kindnesses, because he was a good person, and I cared about him. And a lot of people misinterpret this concept of how you build a network and networking. It's not about collecting business cards. It's not about just getting to know people. That's where it starts. But what really matters is once you've done them a kindness. It might be a phone call when you heard that they had a bad day at work. It might be you read something really interesting, relevant to them. It's often connecting them to someone else so you think those two would really like each other. But just taking that extra moment, that extra beat, when you get to know someone, not to ask yourself, what can I get from her or from him, but what can I do for her or for him? It doesn't have the same direct linear relationship that people think of in networking, but in my career, every interesting job opportunity that's come to me has come through one of those people. Someone that at some point I did something for and didn't expect anything in return. And it's just like you plant all these seeds and over time they grow. You're never sure which ones, but they all grow. And even if they don't, it's just a better way to live your life. It's a better way to live your life. So now, on the last one, I'm going to skip over this and just get to peace of mind. So you take your last 5 hours, you divide it up into 5 different activities, you're driving all these things in your career, you're working really hard, you're succeeding at work. It is stressful. Also, by definition, if you're aspiring to something way out here and you're here, you don't have what you want. So if you don't get your head right, it can just make you really unhappy, really dissatisfied. Scientists have found that stress actually, if you have a little bit of it, makes you a better performer. If you have a lot of it, it can make you a worse performer. So the key to life is not having no stress, but it's finding the way to find that careful balance where you're motivated by what you're doing. Yeah, there's some time pressure, but you believe in yourself, you believe you can get it done. And there are a few things that you can do that help you to stay at the right place in that stress curve. The first one is sleep and exercise. Scientists did a study. A group of people were asked to sleep 6 hours a night for 2 weeks. Another group of people were asked to pull 2 consecutive all-nighters. They put them both in the lab and had them compete in physical and intellectual challenges. They performed at the exact same level. The only difference was the people who had slept 6 hours a night reported that they thought they did pretty well. And the people who pulled 2 consecutive all-nighters said, I don't think I did very well in that. I think I'm going to die. When you don't sleep enough, you can't tell, but you are underperforming. If you are going to make one change in your life based on our time together today, sleep 8 hours. If you meet someone and they tell you, oh, actually, I don't need 8 hours of sleep, that is complete nonsense. The science is clear. We all need it. We just don't give it to ourselves. If you give yourself the gift of enough sleep, you have more willpower, you have more energy, you make better decisions, you are happier, you handle stress better. Secondly, exercise. For every 1 minute you exercise, you live 9 minutes longer. So it's a really good return on investment. It manages your stress. People who write down 3 things they're grateful for every day report lower levels of stress, higher levels of life satisfaction. It takes 30 seconds. There's a lot you're grateful for. Take a moment and express that gratitude. If you've got a lot of small decisions in your life, just make the best decision you can and move on. My wife was texting me, hey, we're moving. Do we want Cablevision or Verizon Fios? My first instinct is to research this for an hour. But you know what? Per earlier, I don't even watch TV. So just get whatever you think. It's fine. Satisfies. If you put 64 jars of jelly on a shelf and ask people to pick one and report their happiness, and you put another shelf with 6 jars of jelly, people are more likely to make a decision and buy the jelly and enjoy it when there are 6. More choice doesn't make you happier. Make the best, fastest decision you can. When it's not important, to move on. And finally, in a lab experiment, people were asked to fill in a survey about how happy they are. They were separated into 2 groups. One group filled in the survey. The other group was asked to hold a pencil in their teeth while filling it in. When you hold a pencil in your teeth, it forces you to mimic a smile. People who were forced to smile during the exercise self-reported that they are happier people. Happiness certainly causes smiling, but smiling also causes happiness. People who smile more handle stress better, report higher life satisfaction, and actually live longer. It has been scientifically proven. So if I could leave you with that, give people a smile today. I hope you enjoyed our time together. I did too. Thank you for having me. And now we go to questions. Thanks, you guys.